Welcome back to the dopest show you won't get sick of. I'm Spencer, and this is my sidekick, Sasha. I spent most of my 20s in federal prison, but I've been off heroin since April 9, 2010. I've got a lot of stories about the stupid stuff I did to get put in prison. I've also got a lot of stories about the crazy stuff that happened when I was actually in prison, and God forbid you end up in prison. Want to make some of the same mistakes I made, like saying a Forrest Gump type of voice to get my phone call to register. I had to say the wrong name for 5 freaking years in a special needs voice because I went in on Xanax. Don't take Xanax and go to prison. That's a bad plan. But anyway, last night, didn't sleep much. I'm missing one. I have to have 4 medications in order to sleep. And even with those 4 medications, I still wake up probably 8 to 10 times in the night. But without them, it's difficult to sleep. I don't have one of them, so I didn't get much sleep last night. And I jumped on this group chat, bunch of prison channels. I went on there to say what's up, couple people, Big Weavy. And when I jumped on that, just comments, they're like, "You got to join, dude. You got to come on." And I normally say no, because Chad Blood on the Razor Wire, I got a lot of respect for that guy. But when I did my interview, I had all this set up perfect. And then I'm like, okay. And all I could hear was, oh. And I'm like, oh God, I can't hear it. So I had to sit up with my face all close to the screen. And I looked like Starvin' Marvin from South Park, a giant head with tiny little body, because I had to lean my face in to hear it. It was such a whisper. If the dog even just shifted, just making, I couldn't hear what he was saying. So that's why I hadn't done an interview since then. I politely declined a number of people. Probably going to holler back at 23 and 1 though. He said come on and tell him some stories way back, and I told him once I got a laptop, but shoot, I might just go on and do it. Maybe that was just a one-off. But I got on there and I talked all kinds of crazy stuff. I do cuss a little bit. I will let you know that ahead of time. My username was a nickname the ODB, Dirt McGirt, from Wu-Tang Clan. Man, ODB is my favorite, man. That's where keeping it gutter comes from, okay? That was my username. For all the people that don't understand the username, that's Dirt McGirt. You got to go back to understand this username. It's respect for ODB, the username I have when I join that chat. But anyway, for all my solid people who've been here for a minute now, you do me a huge favor. All the people, I think I've got like the best bunch of people like this. Somebody's having a bad day. There's so many of y'all that can bring people up and stuff like that. Big Weevy's a homeboy. He's from the same area my whole family's from, Casey's from. It would mean the world to me if you subscribe down to his channel. That'd mean a lot to me if you wouldn't mind doing that. He's funny as can be. He talks country, and he had me laughing the other day. I was watching one of his videos, and he said, "Hey, you guys from Boston, I like how y'all talk. Y'all got a funny accent," and that's how people talk down there. They started talking about tar fire down in the holler, and I was like, what did he just say? Apparently that was a tire fire down in the cul-de-sac. I talk like this, but a woman from Tennessee watched me when I was little. That's where I picked up the accent. Nobody in my family. When I was down in Grundy, they called me city boy. Then when I go to Roanoke, they called me country boy. I didn't fit much anywhere. And they thought that I was like they thought I wasn't white when I first got there. So I thought I was about to get lynched. Got approached by 4 big old country boys. They asked, "What are you?" Found out my cousin was who he was, and it was all good. But anyway, Big Weavy, he's going to be in the comments. I want to pin his comment. It would mean a lot to me, all the people that have been here solid, strong with me. I've got the best bunch of people. I really believe that. But he's a funny dude, man. He's getting better and better with putting it together. He ate a moth in one of his videos. He ate a moth. Yeah, big old white guy with a big old beard. Funny as can be. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get started on this story. Speaking of keeping it gutter before I do though, y'all ever heard of Die-Antwoord or D-Antwoord? It's spelled D-I-E, Antwoord. Man, they keep it gutter. Man, they look like some of the people I used to hang out with. Lord have mercy, that's a wild bunch. It's kind of like the Raven type stuff. Kind of reminds you of Prodigy a little bit. Something a little bit off, a little bit different. Kind of like Australian rap, but they keep it gutter. They keeps it gutter. Wild bunch. I love just the gutter. Just I know I say it, but I like it. I think it's cool as could be. It's not the same as everybody else. It's just with all this mumble rap auto tune stuff that drives me crazy. I mean, shoot, Wu-Tang Clan. This stuff now, it's blasphemy. But anyway, so I was in federal prison, and I started at the low security, went to the medium, eventually made my way back to the low. I worked out with JB's crew during this time, and during this time, I was known as, karate guy. JB would be like, throw a kick up at him. He had me throw, I'd be like, now don't move now. And they'd be like, no, don't do that to me. And he'd be like, nah, trust me. And he'd talk them into it, and I'd snap a kick that far away from their face. I was stretching 45 minutes twice a day. Bill Superfoot Wallace did that, and I was thinking I'll be the next Bill Superfoot Wallace, but I got little Gary Coleman legs. I've got big old long orangutan arms, but I got little tiny short legs. My legs are short and stubby, okay? So, I've got pretty good kicks. I can kick somebody 6 foot tall in the chin, but my legs aren't long. They're just not. And, but I stretched a bunch so I could get them on up there. I'd never use a head kick in a street fight, though. I pretty much stick from the belly button down with kicks, and I prefer front kicks. Front kicks, too easy to fall with the roundhouse kick. But out there, the one day on the weight pile, and I see this guy doing karate kicks, and he's doing them good, like really good. And he looks like, Middle Eastern, something like that. And I go up, and I'm like, hey, what kind of karate you train? He said, Shotokan, I'm black belt. I said, I train Kempo. I was a brown belt. You want to trade off some stuff? And we traded a few things, and, worked out them a good number of times, training. And, he was always smiling. Every time you see him, just smiling. And odd character, he's from Iran, but he wore his pants above his belly button. He's only like 30, I guess. 30. He looked young anyway. And he wore his pants up real high, always tucked in shirt, always proper. Dressed kind of funny, but man, he could kick. Yeah, hands, they were all right, but his kicks, man, his kicks were right, and he had some good tips, good points, good stuff that we traded back. We'd meet out there a number of times and train. You had to be careful, because if you got caught just shadow boxing on the yard, it's a 200 series shot that you can get put in solitary confinement for a couple weeks to a month for. And they take your phone visits or commissary if they catch you doing that. If they want to be pricks. There are people got caught doing that, and a lot of times they just give them a warning. Depends who it is. There's some guards that are just malicious. So had to be careful with that. A lot of time in the gym at the low security, it's a big gym. The medium security has like 600, 800 more people than the low security. And the low security's yard, oh my God, it was great. The medium, oh man. Oh, when I got sent there from the low, I was sick. Looking at this dusty soccer field with no grass. One of the soccer goals is broken. People doing pull-ups on the other soccer goal. There are like two separate... The rec yard at the low security, first off, you got the weights. I mean, that's all I have to say. But they have a giant indoor basketball court with bleachers, like a high school. At the medium security, they don't have that. They got this little tiny room that's probably about 20 by 40 foot that they call indoor rec. And they got these little treadmills in there. Guess what kind of treadmills it is? It ain't got a battery in it. You got to run on it like a hamster and dig your feet in it to get going. It was useless. And the yard was half the size. All that many more people. It was stupid. God, I hated it. I despised the medium. I made as little noise as I could to get up out of there. If I didn't have to be in something, I wouldn't be in something, because I despise that place. But so when you go in, there's the gymnasium. There's the basketball court. Then there's a hallway. There's the bathrooms here. Then you open up, and it's this giant room. It's got probably, I want to say like 9, 12 pool tables. And then they got a bunch of picnic tables that the Chomos play Dungeons and Dragons at all day. They got a lot of nicknames for Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sure y'all have heard some of them. But that's where the weirdos play, and they play that all day. Got something wrong with them. But before that, at the end of the basketball court, there are 2 openings that lead to this, like, I want to say it was probably about 15 by 20 foot area that has like those Stairmasters and stuff. They got the good ones at the low, but it's got an area that people do sit-ups and stuff. Now that it's behind a wall, so we could train back there, and we'd have somebody looking out. There'd be people that sit on the bleachers, draw, just be studying. They'd sit on the bleachers because it was a quiet place and just away from everybody. And a lot of the buildings, it's a dormitory setting, so going and sitting on the bleachers, you could have some privacy. And it was relatively quiet most of the time, unless some idiot was in there just hooping and hollering, which low security, lower respect, okay? The higher security, higher respect. People respect, just they respect you in general. They don't make as much hoop, whoop, whoop noise and everything else. The low security people, some people are just so awful. I mean awful, just terrible. But anyway, behind that wall, and people on treadmill would be looking at us like, they know that stuff. And I'm like thinking, I trained 2 years before I come in here, and I didn't know all that much, and 90% of what I had trained was useless. I'd been so much better suited to go to a boxing gym, Muay Thai gym, Jiu-Jitsu gym, mix it up. But funny enough, the grappling I did 2 days a month, and I went to a lot of seminars. Matt Serra, Enzo Gracie. I went to go take a leak. Everybody was out in the gym floor, and when I came out from the bathroom, Matt Serra had just put on his Ultimate Fighter jersey that he wore when he coached it, and or I guess when he was a participant, and then he ended up knocking out George St. Pierre. That was like the biggest upset in history. And I saw him there, and he just put his jersey on. He made eye contact with me, and I was like, "Oh, you're awesome. I've watched you all growing up." Nah, man, get out of here. And he demonstrated on me. It was the coolest thing. He is the nicest person on the planet to do that. Like, that made everything for that day. And it was a hard time because I went to that seminar, I believe that was in July. And I went to prison August 1st, so I believe that was the first week of July. So it was a month before I had to turn myself in on an 8-year sentence to federal prison. But anyway, we trained karate kicks, everything like that. He carried on. You'd see him, it's Muslim brothers, this type of stuff. Muslims divide up in different groups. There's the ones that are the flunkies that aren't really Muslims. They're doing it for protection. There's the ones that are serious, that are learning about it. There's the ones that call everybody the white devil. And then there's the ones that come from overseas, that a lot of them hang together, And this guy, Ali, he was from Iran. And he'd hang out with the other people. That were from overseas. And I got along with a lot of those guys. In prison, as long as you weren't in a choma, I'd talk to you. I didn't ask the specifics, but later I'd learn about some of the people I talked to. One of my friends that was an extremist, he came up, a white guy, he came up and introduced himself. "Hello, Spencer. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Ishmael. I'm just letting you know I'm coming for your deadlifting record." I'm like, okay. And I shook his hand like I looked like Garth off Wayne's World with my awkwardness. That was the weirdest introduction ever. And he's bigger than me, good bit bigger than me. He didn't break my record though. He thought he's going to, but anyway, he was trying to recruit people to fight some type of war in Bosnia or something like that. He went to the ADX where Chapo Guzman is right now. He wasn't there with Chapo. He was there with all the other people. He had the paperwork for it. He had the actual stuff, because I doubted him. You went to the ADX and now you're at Petersburg Low. How'd that happen? But he had the paperwork, and he actually sued the BOP. That's how he got lower in custody. He should have never been at the ADX. He got screwed on that. And he sued the BOP successfully. Nobody ever does that for $100,000. Now, his two lawyers got $66,000. He got $33,000 deposited on his commissary account. I'd sent him a message when I got out. And I got followed shortly after a number of times. Looked like government vehicles, and I'm good. You can't follow me. You cannot follow me. I was a smuggler when I was 16. I've had more people try to run me off the road and leave me in a ditch. That's why I had that souped up Honda S2000. All that money the big H Kingpin was paying me, instead of buying this, wasting that, I put it in that car, not to be, fast and the furious cool, but because come down to it, I gotta get away. The S2000 was a good car for back roads too, but after I contacted him, I started seeing, and I got behind it and got the license plate. We had some friends, and it come back to, it looked like just simply for messaging this guy, it got me monitored. My phone at my house, I used to press talk and it just get a dial tone, but after this, I have to press talk. I get nothing but click, click. I have to press hang up and press talk again to get a dial tone. weird stuff has happened since then. I don't like that, and I'm gonna make it hard if you follow me. You know, I've been doing this since I was 16 years old, getting away from people. You know, well, I wasn't big. I didn't know nothing about karate back then. As Rick James said, Spencer didn't know nothing about karate back then. Why you think he's taking it now? I'd run, shoot, I'd get out in a hurry. So yeah, I'd get away. Only time I was getting people was if I was sneaking them, and I was very good at sneaking up on people. And it usually had a whole plan with other people too. Usually snatching people up that sold dummies that I was trying to retrieve their money, and I got half their money for doing it. But anyway, it's a weird thing. So Ali, on a Sunday, the word around the compound is they came to him and they said, pack your stuff, you gotta go. No, leave your stuff actually. Come on. And they rushed him out. Nobody ever leaves on a Sunday. I'm from federal prison. Nobody leaves on a Sunday. Where are you going on a Sunday? What's happening? Well, on the news that night, we saw that the U.S. sailors that Iran had captured were being traded back for a number of Iranian prisoners. Ali, the guy who I was training karate techniques with, got traded back in a historical exchange for U.S. sailors. Apparently he was buying stuff from like a Radio Shack type store and sending it back over. If what I'm understanding was right and he was doing that, it probably went into something that was awful and terrible, and he's a piece of trash for that. If that's what happened, making IEDs, believing everybody should be able to get along and everything else. I get along with just about everybody, and but anything that takes people, it's something that bothers me, thinking about that. Take out the chomos. Let's start a campaign against them. I mean, that would make more sense than us bickering about, this, that, if you fight with this religion's right, that religion's right. You can't allow gay marriage. Then they'll have to allow the gays into heaven. They'll be up there with us. I mean, shoot. Allow Buddhist people get married and Islamic people. It's a government thing. I don't much care about it. I don't really have any gay friends, but I don't judge people. You know what I mean? And I know somebody's going to have something to say about that, but let them get their little tax break, okay? It don't even matter. They're not going to, okay, if you believe this and you're so certain about this belief, they're not going to magically let them into heaven if they get married. So, I don't believe that. I'm not going to speak on that. I shouldn't have even brought that up. But my point is, just let people be them. And I think we can all agree. We just don't like the people that mess with the kids. That's what we don't like, right? We can all agree on that. People, don't mess with women or children. Now, it's something that ain't right. So anyway, took him out on a Sunday, made national news. Sounded like he might have been a bad dude though. It's some wild stuff though, because I was training karate with him the day before. And then I see international prisoner exchange. Lord have mercy, blew my mind. So anyway, when I said terrorist taught me karate, that could have been one of two people. There was another one that there's a documentary here on YouTube. It's called Terror. It's T with the error in the middle. Mr. Shaw was he wasn't no joke. The Kung Fu master. Oh man, he'd tap you up. He'd tap you up. He snuck up on him. I saw him drop a few people, just not even going hard, just playing. I'll tell a story about him later. But anyway, that thing about beliefs, nobody take anything political, personal. I don't do politics, don't do none of it. I don't care. I don't have an opinion about none of it. I shouldn't even say that stupid stuff. But my point is, just people, let people be. Let people just exist. I don't care what you do, as long as you don't tell me what to do. If you tell me what to do, we're going to have an issue. I mean, I don't like that, and that's, I live my simple life, my secluded life, away from everybody, and I do my own thing that I'm very happy with. And if anybody, has an issue with that, then I handle it. Actually, Sasha handles it. She doesn't let them get to the fence. She picks them up before our alarm system picks them up. I'm going to do a video of her in action. I've got to figure out a respectful way to do it, because she's going to be barking at anybody that's walking down the street. Anytime she's out, she snaps at them. and it's going to look kind of prickish if I videotape her snapping at somebody that's walking down the street. So I've got to kind of do it, little, incognito or whatever. But I had people last night in that group chat. Oh, that group chat, I was in my, I still hadn't got much sleep. But last night, I'd taken my other 3 medicines, and I was awake. So they made me ignorant, not ignorant, ignorant. I was talking all kinds of crazy stuff. It's fun though. It's fun. I get wild on that one. So Big Weavy on his channel, you can see that. He'll point you to that video. And my username is in reference to ODB, who keeping it gutter. He picked up a welfare check in a limousine and said, "Tell me you wouldn't take free money." I know that ain't right and everything else, but man, that was funny. Lord have mercy. That made them look at their system a little bit. That Die Antwoord, that's a wild bunch. That's a girl. She got like this mullet type haircut, and this dude who does have a mullet, they're like from Australia. He's got like all kinds of prison tattoos. Looks like a little child did them on. Gutter punk rock. They got this song. I think it's called Enter the Ninja. It's kind of corny and all that, but it made me think about me and Casey, because I protect her now. She's lived a life of a lot of misfortunate things from the time she was a child, and she's come out looking at the world as beautiful, and nobody will ever hurt her again. I promise to God that. And I protect her. So anyway, that corny song, Enter the Ninja on Die Antwoord. I'd never heard it before. I liked it. She likes them. The wild bunch. Wild bunch of people. Lord have mercy. See these people, you're like, what? What in the world's going on here? They look. You look at them, you think, what is going on with your hair? What's going on with my hair though, right? I know, I need to get it cut. It's like 2 squirrels screwing on top of my head. It was completely foolish and ridiculous. Right now I am going to get it cut. Probably just buzzed all the way off. It's just what I do. But anyway, if you like the video, press the like button. But if not, it is 22 minutes and 30 seconds of your life in which you'll never get back. Big Weavy should be the pinned comment. If you want to watch that video, it's on his channel. He's a good dude, homeboy, come down from the way. You want to hear a country guy with a big old beard, with the crazy accent. I love how people talk from down there and how their sarcasm, sense of humor, and everything else. It's a different type of living. I'm telling you, it's a different world down there. I loved it. That was some good times in my life. Aside from the fact that until people got to know who I was, I felt like something might happen to me, because they're like, "Are you an Arab?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, where am I at?" It's a little country place. They got a pharmacy school there, so it's a little more diverse now, but it used to be a terribly little white trash town for a good bit. There's a lot of great people too, but there's a lot of, oh man, there's a lot of people there that were awful. I can say that. A lot of people there were awful. And I've never thought that. Well, I don't like hearing that type of talk about anybody else as a group, because how are you going to judge somebody if you don't even know them? And me, I know what it's like to get judged, because I'm just me. I'm so like forthcoming and way too honest and way too open, so I get judged and looked at like a weird. I know I get talked about when I walked away. So guess what? I quit doing it. Quit going around people. I may have wore scissor hands. I went back up on the mountain. Said, y'all are the freaks. And I went back up on the mountain to a world that did not understand me. And that's what a lot of the stuff I do on here for. Is not for the people that are cool and all this other stuff. Cool nowadays, I don't even know what that is. Shoot. We had Wu-Tang back when I was growing up. Now you got that Bugatti, Maserati. And I'm like, what was that? Was that Tourette's or epilepsy? Bugatti. You rented that. Lying like crazy, acting like you got a Bugatti. Why would you buy that? Sounds like the worst investment ever. Spend that much money on a car. Shoot. There's a million. You buy 10 other good cars for that. That's an ignorant investment. you know. But anyway, if you like the video, press the like button. Big Weeby, pin comment.